And welcome, folks, to another edition of Steady Droppin Dimes. First episode of the new year. And we'll call this the capper. We'll call this the end of year, the end of season episode. This will wrap up the football season, so to speak. And sort of transition into full basketball season mode, right? And look ahead to the NFL playoffs. There's a lot of transitioning to do here on Steady Droppin Dimes, brought to you by Underground Printing. You know, we hang around with the Underground. It's been a great season with our friends at UGP. Hope you guys a lot of you guys took advantage of that great deal, that 20% off deal that went through the end of the year. A lot of you did some great holiday shopping with that great deal, an Ann Arbor original since 2001 over at Underground Printing. Folks, a lot of great Michigan gear you can get at UGP at their brick and mortar stores in Ann Arbor, South Main, South U, downtown. You can always get your Michigan gear there. Of course, undergroundshirts.com. You can get it done there as well online. Always a great way to get your Michigan gear, but your custom wear. Yeah, we have not forgotten that we're gonna go ahead and get our Droppin Dimes gear made over at Underground Printing. So again, Steady Droppin Dimes gear is gonna happen. We're gonna get it done. And people said they want to see some themed gear. So they said, Sam, are you guys gonna get some two straps gear? Sure. Of course, we got to get that done. They said, Sam, are you going to get some gear that says, I don't know, there was one that last week when we had Devin Gardner. Why are you shaking your head?
Get your hand off the keyboard. I can see you about to try to flick it on or something. Get your hands. Show me your hands. Show me your hands now.
BG, Ben just showed up. And we were just last week.
No.
What? I mean,
you are garbage. And show me your hands.
It's a setup.
I know he always trying to set me up. I ain't finna play with him.
I'm not saying there's nothing there was no setup at all. I just know last week there were some descriptions. Did anybody in the chat know what how they describe Devin Gardner? And Devin.
They wasn't describing Devin Gardner. They were describing
Devin Gardner gladly accepted the description.
Devin Gardner's waves. Let's be clear.
Devin embraced the description. He proudly proclaimed himself a supple man.
He said, are you just gonna lie? Are you just gonna lie on the show from the start?
Devin said proudly,
Devin's here. You can't just lie.
I am a supple man.
Devin
did he not say that?
No, he did not say that.
You didn't say I'm a supple man.
No. And he was referring to my waves.
Hey, man. Steve Horn.
All right, Steve, I'm about to block you on everything. Let me wait till I get back on social media. I'm blocking Steve on the show.
Come on, man. I'm not making this up. I'm not making it up.
You are 100% certainly making that up. You a lie, and the truth ain't in you.
This man said it. And so people riffed on that, and they said, you should make a shirt that says D Supple G.
Daniel, I think you're right. We do have a tape. We do have recorded tape
that shirt,
of me not saying it.
That shirt will be made D Supple G. We're going to have to make that shirt. That will be an Underground Printing original. See, you can do shirts like that. You can do gear like that with our friends at Underground Printing. We're going to make that happen, folks.
Dang, DG, they didn't caught on to your suppleness.
I'm not going to
keep arguing back and forth with y'all. Too supple. That's another one. Too supple. We got to make that shirt.
That's what the Monday morning quarterback new name is. Two straps.
Supple. We got to make that shirt. That is a great one. Oh, I love my people. It's so great to be back here on
They said, I don't think he liked to look at his face.
It's so great to be back here on Dropping Dimes. Oh man,
Hey, hold on, DG, is that why you don't have the waves popping today?
Patrick Fields. Now we got action. DG definitely needed some supple wide receivers, but maybe not such a supple offensive line. Too much bending. Too much.
Hey, is that why you don't have the waves going today so you could stay away from the supple talk?
Wintertime. I have longer hair in wintertime. Everybody knows
this. Yeah, no, but it was definitely a great finish to the season for these Wolverines. You know, they went down to Columbus, a 3-touchdown underdog. They went down to Tampa, a 16.5-point underdog with all the opt-outs. So, you know, you didn't have Will, you didn't have Colston in Columbus, right? But you had Mason, you had KG, you had Josiah Stewart, you had your defensive line. You go down to Tampa in the ReliaQuest Bowl, and you don't even have them. And so Wink said,
"Hold my beer."
Right. He was like, "Hey, these other dudes got to step up.
Yeah.
You know, hey, strap up, fellas.
Two straps.
We came to work. Right. We came to work. We can still get it done. We still have ball players. Scheme's the same. These other dudes can ball. You know, we gonna get it done. And we know what Jalen Milroe likes to do. We watch the tape. We think we can get it done." And man, they had a hell of a game plan, and it was on. It was on from the beginning. It was on. It was on from the beginning. The elements, you know, one team embraced the elements. The other team was not ready for the elements.
They crumbled
under the pressure. And Derek Moore, who declared he was coming back, had himself a hell of a first half. And if he can translate that into a senior campaign that is like he played in that ReliaQuest Bowl, he's gonna make himself a lot of money, DG, by coming back next year.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've always been impressed with him, and you know, size. He showed good speed, and his Remember I talked about Colson Loveland, and you know, I always talk about offense and how he was so good last year, but this year it just seemed like he had more tools in the toolbox, right? As far as just being a pure wide receiver, off the line, getting open versus man coverage, all those different things. And I think Moore coming in this year showed a lot of those same things, but defensively, right? Being able to disengage, right? Bend on the edge and show that he has that nimble ability to get to the quarterback. And if he improved like he did from last year to this year, you can't imagine what he's going to be as an older, stronger, more experienced version of himself next year. So him coming back, I think, is huge. And like you said, it's going to garner a lot of cheese, if you will, as far as the money department is concerned.
Yeah, so, you know, him, Rayshawn Benny.
My dog.
Yeah, man.
I told you he was going to be that guy. I told you. Hey. I talked to him in the summer. What is it, summertime, spring, whatever it was. I said, "You all right? How you?" He said, "Man, I'm gonna be ready." I said, "I believe you. You're a Carter kid, so I know."
Hey, man, he was killing them dudes.
He's a monster. I'm so glad that Carter had that conversation that he had with me, so that he didn't end up at Michigan State looking crazy. Smart move. Get your butt to Michigan and do what you're supposed to be doing. Yeah, and he with all the adversity and stuff, man. I'm so proud of him, man. He's a good player.
Absolutely. Hey, and did it with one hand, man. I don't know. Look, season's over. We can talk freely and openly. Man, his hand was broke.
Yeah.
In the game.
And I don't think people at home really know how big that is. Because as a defensive lineman, you need both hands to hit, extend, engage, throw guys off, all that. You know how hard it is to do that with a broken hand?
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Hey, so here's another story. So, you know, this all the negotiations, man, it's all NIL at the end of the day, whether you go or stay. And so got his NIL thing working. And you know, they going through their thing. And so Michigan, they go in they're doing the Damon Payne negotiation. and they get Damon Payne in, and then a fake number gets put out on Damon Payne. That's really, really wrong. Really, really wrong. Like way off. So you got some places that just have really horribly bad information, horribly bad intel.
Who are those places?
That just have no idea what they're talking about.
Who are those places?
I mean, there are only a few places out there that put out what they call intel and people think it's accurate.
Yeah, put a name on it.
And so they put out a fake number on Damon Payne. And if you're a Rayshawn Benny and you see this number, you like, man.
Oh, hell no.
Hey.
Firstly, I'm already here. Secondly, you've seen me produce. Wait a minute.
Hey. We got to do something about this.
We got to have a conversation. Something needs to be talked about.
Because if this is the number, yep, we got to do some more calculations.
The calculations are off, okay?
Now,
have y'all seen me play? The calculations are off.
Now, mind you, it's bad information. It's bad information, but you know it's gonna be. That's the problem in this day and age with all the bad. You got to build it into your. You got to build it into your calculus. Whether it's Michigan or any other program out there, you got to build into your equation that you're gonna have all this bad data out there. Whether it's media that don't know what the hell they're talking about, or agents that are throwing bad numbers out there, right? You're gonna have to deal with that with how you're doing your NIL, how you're doing your NIL calculations. And frankly, you also have to do this assessment. The value that you get from the dollars spent on retention versus the value you get from the dollars spent on acquisition. From, because the value from you get from retention versus the value you get from acquisition in the portal is different. And Sean McGee actually kind of talked about this. Man, the value from retention from a guy like Rayshawn Benny is going to be way higher than the value you get from the dollars you spent from acquisition in the portal. There's not comparable talent in the portal. You're not going to get comparable
value. High-level player.
Yeah, you're not going to get comparable value from the dollars spent in the portal to the value you get from spending those same dollars on Rayshawn Benny. So if you're gonna invest, if you're gonna pay over market, what you think is market,
do it to your guys.
Do it for your guys. So if you gotta pay over market value, then pay over market value for your guys. Is essentially what we're saying here. Yeah. And I think the conclusion that
I think Rayshawn Benny is going to be maybe the biggest mover from this date right now to the draft next year. I think people are going to realize like he could be a first-round player. I think he's going to be a first-round player.
I do too. I think Rayshawn Benny can be next year's KG.
Yeah, I agree.
You think that's an overstatement? I don't.
No. Don't. I think for sure. I was thinking he had a higher ceiling, in my opinion. Right? I think that he's a guy because he's going to be playing as an older guy, right? Not Rayshawn Benny, but Kenneth Grant was playing as he's had experience, but he don't know everything, right? He's going a little early, right? He's leaving early. Well, this is the guy that's had the time. He's had time on task, right? He's had time where he's injured and just learning mentally, right? All the different things that you kind of want to go into a finished product as a college football player. He's experienced it all, adversity, injury, all these different things, and I think that he's going to explode next year. I think he's going to be a real problem.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, he was killing those dudes. Killing them.
Because you think about it. When I look at him, I look at how he was dominating Bama last year before he got hurt. Right? Remember, he was really coming on at the end of the season, right? And then he gets hurt, and it's just like, dang, is he going to be able to? No, he came back, and he's the same guy, except I think a little bit better. So a whole offseason of not being hurt, right? an offseason of not rehabbing, but building on the things you've already been able to do, I think he's a bona fide first rounder for sure after the season next year.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's and so big picture, right? You get Bryce Underwood flipped from LSU to Michigan. That's belief in Sherrone Moore, belief in this program and direction, right? You go down to Columbus and beat Ohio State, who's killing everybody right now. I mean, these dudes are not listening. They didn't read the memo. Like, why are you letting these dudes score in 3 plays? Can you?
Why are you allowing the best receiver in the country just to run free throughout your defense? I can't understand it. And I know how. First of all, I just want to say this. I tweeted it out. I said, it is criminal that kid has to come back and waste his time playing college football. He is a number one right now.
Yeah.
Why are you letting him run free throughout the defense? Why is nobody touching him to start? Firstly, nobody's touching him to start, right? He's just running his routes, doing his thing. And then you're not even, he should be like a boxing one, right? You know boxing one, Danny, basketball guy. It should be a boxing one football version with one guy for sure chasing him, and then the rest of everybody can play zone. But you just can't let this dude run through the defense. How is the best player open? Wide open. Nobody around him. It's crazy. It's crazy talk. It's crazy talk. And if that's how you're going to play them, they're going to win that championship for sure. Because it's going to be hard enough boxing one of them.
Hey, when they played Tennessee, I called my pops after the first possession when he scored the long touchdown. I said, Pops, if y'all go cover one-on-one, y'all get beat. What's today's date? I haven't talked to him since.
I don't get it.
Like, oh my God.
It's like you are coordinators and different whatever. You better take that pride, put that pride aside. Oh, I think my guys can handle it. No, they can't. No, you should be fired if you're allowing this dude to run free throughout your defense. That is crazy talk.
He's the highest rated recruit in the history of the rankings.
In the history of the rankings. And in those rankings, you got Vince Young, you got Mike, you got all these dudes. He's the highest rated recruit in the history of these rankings. And you know me, not a rankings guy. You just don't know because they're playing against high school kids. When you watched them in high school, you knew. And then when you watched them in the spring game, you knew. And then you watched them in the first game, you knew. By this time, you have to know. You have to know. And obviously, they still do not know. I wanted the Texans know.
His ranking was 101.
That's more than 100.
Man,
trying to cover that man one-on-one.
I'm like, this is one of those deals where obviously this is a dude you're dedicating a couple of defenders to, but more broadly, keep everything. Make them go 7-8 plays.
Multiple plays, right?
Yeah.
Multiple plays.
Make them go 7-8 plays to score. And if they score in 7-8 plays, tip your cap. But 7-8 plays to score, you're shortening the game and you're giving them Will Howard a chance to make a mistake.
Which
because this
is
is
proven that he will.
Yep.
Yes, Devin, yes. See, you preaching. You preaching right now.
For anybody, and not to say that Will Howard's a scrub, not saying he's a scrub, but even for a scrub, you let him see a few completions and feel good, he's going to go crazy. Daniel, Linsanity is a real thing. Not saying Linsanity, Jeremy Lin was a scrub. But guess what? Jeremy Lin wasn't as good as he was performing. I can tell you that for a fact. And the following years suggested that.
Yep.
But when you let somebody feel good,
build that
everybody
confidence.
can get busy.
Yep.
So you letting him just complete balls and no resistance. By the time you figure out to double him, he feeling good now. He about to start running around, making plays. He throwing behind the backs, no looks. He getting down.
Hey, DG, don't put me on him after he was scoring 5-6 buckets on the other dude already.
Don't try to let me on him now. He was scoring 36 points.
Hey, man.
Don't put me on him.
Listen.
Let me start on it.
A couple weeks ago when the Lions played the 49ers, and that was a game where, everybody was out, including Anzalone in that game. They couldn't stop a soul that week, but it was full scale. We can't do anything in this game. We can't do anything in this game. But they were actually mixing in some zone in this contest. And it was late in the game. They're playing some zone. They're backing off. And finally in the fourth quarter, guess what happened? Brock Purdy throws the ball right to Kirby Joseph.
Here we go.
Throws it right to him.
9th pick of the year.
It was like, where did that come from? It's like, he just
give him a chance.
Just give him a chance to make a mistake. Just give him a chance to make a mistake.
Wide open dudes, Will Howard gonna hit wide open dudes. I'm sorry. He's hitting those wide open guys, especially if they're wearing number 4 and they 6'3 and a half, 225.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress. Don't want to go off on that tangent. You look and you see how from Bryce Underwood committing to Sherrone, belief in him. This team had to believe in him and this game plan. They go down to Columbus. They get that victory. They go down to Tampa. Nobody's giving them a chance. All these opt-outs. They go down and get that victory. Man, the belief level.
Also, can we just add one more thing? With no offense in both those games. They basically played with 2 arms behind their back. They were just kicking away with both of them.
Spamming the kick button.
Yeah, man.
How are y'all doing this? It was crazy. Crazy. Shouldn't happen.
Hey, man. Yeah, they offensively, they were not throwing the football. Period. When they did throw the football, interception. It was like, and you can tell Sherrone was like, all right, we ain't doing that no more.
We ain't doing this no more. If we're going to lose, we're going to have to fumble it. We ain't about to keep on throwing this ball. You know, have somebody else throw it. Let's have 14 throw it. Let's have
those are like you said, Sam. Those are program wins, right? Those are like based on
program wins.
How we train in the spring and summer, how we practice every day, how we like you said, we've been talking about.
We're tougher than them.
Yeah, just the culture allows you to go in and win games.
We ain't that good right now, but recruits, take a look. We're tough, and toughness can beat Ohio State and can beat Bama apparently. Just
now imagine being tough and talented.
Yeah, so he has the belief in the program on in him on a level that you don't typically see with first year coaches. So given that he has the quarterback, seems like he has the pieces on defense. Is Michigan back, fellas? I mean, what do you think heading into next year?
Wait, what you mean by back? I mean, we just won.
By back, do you think that they're back next year?
Technically, we still defending national champs right now until a few weeks.
Well, are they back competing for a league championship and a playoff berth next season?
That's a really good question. And because of the way that they perform especially towards the end of the season, right? Starting with Northwestern, where I called the game. You're welcome. It really seems like the culture that Daniel's kind of talking about is something that can carry them to, I'd say, 7 wins at least. I'm talking about like if you didn't have good players, like that culture and the way that they've kind of started to move toward the kind of toughness that they displayed when they won the national championship. I think that gets you 7, right? And then you start to add in talented players. We got to see what they do in the portal. And remember, I'm a firm believer that you got to get a grown-up quarterback because you don't want – firstly, throw a guy in the fire and either A, he loses his confidence, or B, he's just not good enough just yet, and you got a good team around him. You know what I mean? Right? Let him get his chance to learn. I'm telling you, that's just the best way to do it because it's so fast, it's so different, and especially since I know the guy, the defenses he was seeing in this state, right? The talent that he was seeing with his talent in this state, he's not quite ready for the speed and what's going to happen to you at the quarterback position, especially if you don't have that overwhelming talent on offense, which they just don't have just yet. So I really want to wait and see what they do in the portal, but the culture is 7 wins, right? And if that's what you get from just the culture, they're going to have some good players. I think that the sky's the limit, but I can't say that they're a favorite like I thought they were the last 3 or 4 years when I talked about it. But I definitely think they can compete for sure.
Yeah, I think their defense will be good enough.
Mm-hmm.
How does their offensive line evolve? And in the quarterback position, is going to be really interesting. You got Mikey King coming in, and does he and his history with offensive coordinator Chip Lindsey, does that allow him to hit the ground running? And does he hit the ground running, and is he the guy and stay the guy, or is the wonderkin, the 5-star All-American guy so good that in 3 or 4 games he comes in, takes the reins, and becomes the guy? Is going to be an interesting question. And who emerges as at receiver? They're going to be set. They're going to be stacked at running back. You got, Jordan Marshall was outstanding in his debut, 100-yard rusher against Alabama. When you have no passing game, to me, that tells me everything I need to know.
So impressive, man. So impressive.
Tells me everything I need to know about you. And then you get the Justice Haynes from Alabama, or their running back, their other running back. They got a nice 1-2 punch, and then Max Bredesen is back. They're going to be stacked in the backfield. So
tight end room, I think that those young tight ends really improved. I think the tight end room is going to be strong and improving, because guess what? Those young guys are going to be bigger, stronger, faster versions of what they were a year ago, and smarter from the opportunities they got to play with Colson Loveland being out. So, I mean, you just got to get that offensive line is very important. That's a very important piece. You have to get it right and get it. And honestly, I think serviceable. I think serviceable is good enough, but obviously you want it to be dominant the way it was before.
Yeah, offensive line has got to be better than last year. Between the improvement that I expect that they will get from having better components from the guys that are here, having more time on task. And I also think Grant Newsome in year 2, and then maybe the addition of Juan Castillo. And I say maybe the addition of Juan Castillo, who came back as an analyst for the bowl game. And we'll see if he's here for the season. I'll talk about that on MichiganInsider.com a little bit later. So be sure to check that out. But that could be huge if he winds up sticking for the season. He was part of the UCLA staff before Deshaun Foster kind of broomed that offensive staff. But Juan Castillo was here with Jim back in before he made the transition with the Ed Warner piece. You might remember when Ed Warner had Cesar Ruiz and some other guys, and he was highly regarded for how the offensive line was doing. Everybody was talking about what a great offensive line coach he was. And man, well, Juan Castillo. Anyway, I'll just say Juan Castillo is legit. And I just know Jim wanted to hire Juan Castillo as the offensive line coach. And Juan Castillo was an analyst, and Juan Castillo left to be the offensive line coach for the Bears. Jim tried to keep him as the offensive line coach. But he's like, hey, man, I'm about to go work with my dude. I'm about to go work with my man with the Bears at the time to be the O-line coach over there. That's the only reason why he didn't stay to become the offensive line coach at that time, was that he went to the pros. So this is a legit dude that would be a huge assist to Grant in the O-line room if he's able to stay as an analyst, and I think will really help the offensive line if he's able to stay. So yeah, Nagy, coach Nagy, the former former head coach for the Bears, was who he went to work with back at that time. So anyway, that would be huge. Still a lot of ifs over on offense. Who's going to emerge at receiver? Does that offensive line really gel and improve significantly? And how does that quarterback position come along? But if those ifs can really, really come along in a tangible way, they can be back. The defense will, though. I think the defense is there.
100%.
They'll have a defense to be there. So, some really, really good stuff. Really, really, really good stuff. So, yes, sir. Yeah, Juan Castillo is the man. Hey, look, Jim Harbaugh tried to he was the analyst. Think about that. At the time when everybody was talking about Ed Warner being like this, use a little deductive reason. Pay attention to what I'm saying. Everybody talking about Ed Warner being that dude as an offensive line coach. You got Cesar Ruiz, you got this great offensive line, right? Everybody talking about him. And Jim is trying to hire Juan Castillo as his offensive line coach. Think about that. Juan Castillo's like, I'm going to the league to work with my man Nagy. Juan Castillo's that guy. I'm surprised Deshaun Foster let him go. I mean, letting go of the enemy is one thing, but man, you throwing the baby out with the bathwater right there, Deshaun. I don't know about that.
It is
Enemy out after 1 year. Jeez, that don't look good for Eric Bieniemy, man. I don't know. He probably should just stay with the Chiefs, man.
Yeah.
Probably should just stay with the Chiefs. It's been all downhill since then.
Yeah,
you with a generational quarterback, but you want your own thing so bad. No, just keep doing what you're doing, man.
Yeah, I think he probably was thinking
money and championships.
He probably was thinking that he needed to branch out on his own in order to become a head coach because he was never.
Think about this. He not that old, right? If you stay with the Chiefs, right, you keep on stacking championships. You gonna get somebody gonna take a shot, right? Like, dude, you've been with Patrick Mahomes all this time. Some of that greatness that rubbed off, or you've been with Andy Reid. Some of the greatness got to rub off on you, right? But you just moving too fast. Bad information. Who gave him bad information?
Maybe Andy Reid would eventually let him call plays.
Because at that point, though, it was a question on is Bieniemy the genius? Who is it? What is it? Now there is no question.
Right.
He definitely ain't gonna get no job now.
Well, he get a job, but offense been struggling this year a little bit too, though.
The Chiefs are defending champions of the NFL. And they're probably going to win the third straight. They don't need Eric.
Yeah, he said struggling. They got 2 losses and one of those.
Yeah, and one of them they gave away.
I ain't saying been winning. I'm just saying offense ain't been potent as it's been, previous years.
Man, winning is the most important thing, and they only lost one game.
For sure. No question.
And as much as everybody's saying Patrick Mahomes ain't playing that good, go look at his stuff. He's playing really good football. Crazy.
Yeah. It's like crazy when you win championships like that, your standard becomes outlandish.
You only lost one game, and everybody's saying how bad you win this year.
No. I think people are compared to the competition, right? Like when you look at them, they're still winning, they're still getting it done. But then you look at the Lions offense, you look at the Bills offense, you look at some of these other teams that they're going to have to compete against. They have these explosive, high-powered offenses, so it makes Kansas City look like they're not as. But
Daniel,
everybody knows they still got the best team.
Daniel, you know better than anybody. These regular season games do not matter.
Yeah.
And the one group that, and when all the chips is to the center, right? Bills, love the Bills, love Josh Allen, it's awesome. When them chips in the center, I ain't going with nobody else except for the red team with the yellow. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry.
I can dig it.
I ain't gonna be looking like no fool.
You think they're going to get past Lamar this year?
Love Lamar. I hope he play real good. I don't see it. Lamar, I think Lamar should be MVP again.
Yeah. And that goes back to our conversation from earlier this year. Remember I said, what happens if he wins a third MVP and a Super Bowl? Is he now on the same level as Mahomes, or is he still not on the same level as Mahomes, even with 3 MVPs and 1 Super Bowl? So,
yeah. Before we get off of this, we've been getting a series of questions that I want to throw at you and both of you guys, for that matter, about Georgia quarterback Carson Beck.
Never thought he was what everybody thought he was. Never. I thought he was a pretty good quarterback that played on a team full of really good players.
So enter in the transfer portal. And so the question from a lot of fans is, hey, should Michigan jump in the race for Carson Beck?
No.
You know what I remember about Carson Beck, man? There was a portion of the season where he was an interception machine.
In spite of him, they are going to play in these playoffs.
Man, he was throwing it to the left. I mean, I think it was like he had thrown like over the span of 3 games. I'm trying to remember the stat. It was like 8 or 9 interceptions in the span of 3 games. Dude, I know he threw 3 picks in that loss to Alabama.
He was the reason that they pretty much lost to Alabama. If he don't turn the ball over how he did, that game is not like that.
And that and the 8 interceptions that he threw in 3 games, the Alabama game wasn't even a part of that stretch.
Yeah.
So this is a separate stretch from the 3 picks against Alabama.
I just hate how they just dub people. Oh, he's the #1 unquestioned quarterback coming up. How? How do you say that when a former walk-on won back-to-back national championships and this dude didn't get in the playoff? What are we doing, man? I'm so sick of people just being dubbed. It's great off of nothingness. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
good player, not like a scrub. Let's be clear, not a scrub. But come on, man.
Wait, let me ask y'all. So we were willing to take Miller Moss as a 1-year bridge to Bryce, but y'all wouldn't want Carson Beck as a 1-year bridge to Bryce.
100%.
I think Miller Moss. To me, I like Miller Moss more than I like Carson Beck.
Don't do
Carson Beck is a quarterback that benefited greatly from a great roster. Miller Moss didn't benefit from a great roster. Roster's just fairly average at USC, in my opinion.
I don't know. I'm taking the guy that just started 2 years in the SEC and was coming into the year was the #1 overall draft pick.
And is now leaving his school for a dude that's like a freshman, sophomore. What's his kid?
He's a freshman.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
A freshman from Georgia.
I mean, that's basically what Ohio State did.
When I say, Daniel, interception machine.
And Michigan can't be turning that ball over.
Hey,
that was this year, right? Last year, he wasn't an interception machine.
Last year, he was just a guy. Everybody hyped him up for whatever reason.
What was his stats last year? He threw 30-something touchdowns last year, didn't he?
He in the SEC with all the best players on his team, Daniel.
Mm.
And stop with this SEC garbage, because we're seeing it ain't what we thought it was. The bowl games, I love the bowl games.
No, it's just another power. It's another major.
Bama is one of their best teams. They had all their players, and Michigan smoked them. Our Michigan. Come on, man. Stop with this SEC garbage. Stop the rhetoric. Stop them SEC rhetoric. It ain't what we thought it was.
Yeah, if I had to choose between them two, I'm taking Miller Moss.
We got a chance for the top 3 teams in the country to be from the Big Ten. We could see Penn State versus Ohio State, and Oregon, had they not had to play Ohio State, would probably be in the 2. Stop with this.
Last year he was 24-6, 72 completion percentage. I think I would take that in that conference versus what
Daniel. You got to watch the games.
Miller Moss in the Pac-12.
Daniel, you got to watch the games.
Oh, there it is.
I got 5 TVs right now.
No. I'm talking about. Watch, don't let 72 confuse you, because in this day and age, when you throwing bubble, you doing push pass, jet sweep, they do that to make sure that completion percentage is up. I don't want to hear nothing about no completion percentage.
You're right.
Look at that, man. Look at that. So 3 interceptions versus Florida, 3 interceptions versus Texas, then 2 versus Mississippi State. Then he no interceptions versus Auburn. Then 3 more interceptions versus Bama. This dude throwing interceptions like the dudes on his team.
Excuse me if I don't want to see 62 yards passing no more. So that's all I'm saying.
We can get that from anybody else on the planet except for the dudes that was there.
I'm like,
but we do not need this guy, because you're gonna see 5 interceptions with 140. I don't want to sacrifice. I just go with 62 then.
I got you.
I don't want all the interceptions with the
I'd rather you have 75 yards and no turnovers.
Give me 75, no turnovers then, because no.
Yeah, his floor is pretty low, but you gotta admit the at his height, what he's been over the last 2 years is much more than what.
But what, I'm confused. I'm wondering why though. Why is his ceiling automatically high because he played at Georgia?
No, just he's had the games where you've seen him play well against other quality opponents.
But was it hey, he's the reason these plays are being made, or is it you got open guys, you got good players, got good run game, offensive line is blocking well? Is he the guy is he the reason, or is he just a beneficiary of a great overall program?
Nice throws, but Georgia's defense and run game is the basis of what they do. So
we don't need him. Yeah. We need somebody else. We need somebody that can carry the load, not somebody that's benefiting from other people carrying the load.
Right.
Especially since he's gonna be expensive because of all the stuff you saying. Hey, look what I've done. I've done this. I've been in this, and blah 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 blah. Garbage. No.
He threw 52 touchdowns and a little less than 20 interceptions in 2 years. He definitely gonna command some money.
Yeah, and 15 of them came this year.
Yeah. I wonder what the deal is at Georgia. Georgia's like, hey.
Well, they found out he's the reason we're losing, but they just couldn't bench him. They like, oh, thank God he got hurt. Oh, thank goodness we can finally move on.
That young boy they got, Gunnar Stockton, got a nice reputation down here. Coming out of high school, he did. So he's a Georgia kid.
They had their hands tied because Carson Beck was making a lot of money, and that's where we are in college football. And he's not playing good enough, but we can't bench him because we paying him all this money. But guess what? If he gets hurt, we can move on instantaneously. And that's what happened.
Oh, there you go. All right. It is time, as we like to do, to tell you, listen, folks, if you have apparel needs, Michigan apparel needs, we always like to point you to our friends over at Underground Printing. Now, the brick and mortar stores in Ann Arbor are outstanding. South Main, South U, and of course the downtown stores. Tremendous. You can always go to undergroundshirts.com. All of your options available there that you find at the brick and mortar stores available to you at undergroundshirts.com. But listen, custom wear, custom ideas like the ones we've been
put your
about.
Smile away. I'm sick of you, man.
Now, Ben, if you value
this friendship, Ben, if you value this friendship, Ben, you better not do it. If you value this friendship at all,
Ben, if you are tuned into my wavelength,
man,
like I think you are, I want you to give an example of the kind of shirt we could send in to Underground Printing, and Underground Printing could bring this shirt to life. This is the kind of shirt that UGP could do. It better have
straps on it.
UGP could make this shirt a reality. They could do this because UGP is outstanding like that. They could, whether it's your company shirts, they could do polos, they could do t-shirts, any of your custom wears that you might have for your teams. It's not just company, teams, whatever needs you might have for any of your custom needs, they have you covered over at Underground Printing. So, Ben, I need you to bring up examples that we might have come up with on this very show, because people in the room have been talking about Oh, there we go. That's see. Now, Ryan.
That shirt is terrible.
Rishi, the founders of Underground Printing. Michigan students in 2001 had a great idea. We can turn this idea into a company, which they started over in West Quad, and now it is a nationwide company.
Where's the shirt with straps on it? I'm confused.
DJ, you stayed in West Quad?
And you can get this custom paraphernalia made.
That's why
you don't have to be, and I know you can send in your custom ideas, and they can have these shirts made and sent to you wherever you are. That's how Underground Printing is. So, folks, wherever you are in the country. If you have custom needs, Underground Printing can meet them. In addition to any Michigan gear you might need, you can find those items on their website at undergroundshirts.com.
All right, man.
Again,
moving on. We need to talk Lions. We need to talk Michigan basketball. Moving forward, man. I'm sick of this garbage. Not the Underground Printing is garbage. It's just the Sam's, just the lies he tells. He's a lie. He sits on a throne of lies in that little office, and he can't be trusted. I can't continue to listen to this rhetoric.
That is not true. That is not true.
We
gotta get these. We're gonna get that D. We're gonna come up with that design, that D supple G. We're gonna
that shirt was garbage.
We're gonna
hold on. I need my guys to give me a West Quad alumni t-shirt since they West Quad.
That's actually a good idea. That's actually sweet. Daniel, you need to quiet down because you need to get a piece of that, because I would definitely wear a South Quad alumni shirt. Like just an alumni of your dorm?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think they actually do that, but could you do that, or would that be like some kind of license violate? I wonder if you could.
South Quad not like the word South Quad.
I wonder.
I don't think so.
I don't
think so. But Sam, if they have the Michigan licensing, I'm sure they can use it, right? Seems like an easy deal.
Yeah. We'll see. Mm-hmm. Underground Printing could check all that out, though. They would be able to check all that out for you, and you can find that out. Go to undergroundshirts.com. All your custom wares as well. Let's transition over to basketball.
Yes, sir.
Where the Wolverines, the Michigan Wolverines, back in the top 25, atop the Big Ten standings. They earlier in Big Ten play, which they started back at the beginning of December, by the way, they went into the Kohl Center and got a dub. And now here they are. They've gone in the Pauley Pavilion and got a dub after they went to USC and got a win. Now, that wasn't looked upon as much of an accomplishment, even though it was a top 100 victory.
Across the country.
The one going into UCLA, who was number 22 at the time, and they had fallen to number 22 after losing at Nebraska. But going into UCLA, Tyler Bilodeau, who had done some work this season, got worked in this matchup with I don't know what to, I mean, he's been part of a nickname with Danny Wolf. They've been calling him Area 51. You put up 36 points, you might need a nickname yourself. I don't know if Vlad has his own nickname, but he worked Tyler Bilodeau to the point that Mick Cronin got broken, because he was calling his own players all kind of names after what Vlad Golden did in that game. But the Wolverines are getting all kind of hype, subject to all kind of hype. They've been called the favorites in the Big Ten. Eric Musselman is talking about Danny Wolf definitely being in the Big Ten or in the NBA next year. Old Jalen Rose, who was on the call for the first time on Peacock, calling the Michigan basketball game, talking about Danny Wolf. I don't know if you heard it. Did you hear it, Daniel? They show highlights of you, by the way. Did you see it? You see your highlights?
I saw the highlights after the fact, but I normally watch the games with the sound off to avoid exactly what you're talking about.
So Jalen, first of all, they showed Daniel highlights because they said the last time Michigan won in Pauley was 2002, and Daniel Horton was out here balling. Look at Daniel in Pauley Pavilion doing this thing.
Yeah.
And then so Jalen said, "Hey, folks, he's kind of jokerish," talking about Danny Wolf. This was Jalen's bit of commentary. He didn't say he was the Joker, but he said he does some things that are jokerish. He, being Jalen Rose, said that about Danny Wolf. So was this hyperbole, Daniel Horton, talking about Michigan being the favorite in the Big Ten and Danny Wolf doing some jokerish things? What say you?
Well, the Michigan being one of the favorites in the Big Ten is not hyperbole. Like now, 15, what is it, 20 games, almost 20 games into the season, 16, 17 games into the season, I've had a chance to watch a lot of the other Big Ten teams and kind of see what they have and what they don't have. And Michigan's right there. I haven't seen a team in the Big Ten that, has the size Michigan has or the versatility they have as far as being able to win multiple ways, right? A lot of them, some of these other teams, they win by playing their way and that, imposing their will. But Michigan has shown the ability to win multiple ways. They won slow, grinded out games. They can make a bunch of threes and beat you that way. They can play inside. So they have their team is very versatile. Now, as far as to the individual hyperboles, I think we still need to. I think we need to put the focus on where it should go, and that's I think Vlad Golden. Like he's been the difference maker in this stretch where they've gone from when their team has taken a step forward and elevated. Danny Wolf has played well, and he's had games where he's hasn't been as good. But I think the consistent factor in their improvement has been Vlad Golden. I think the way he's playing right now, if he continues that, he'll probably win Player of the Year in the league. And he'll also be in the NBA next year as well. Like
wait. You think Vlad Golden is on his way to be Player of the Year in the league?
Yes, if he continues
over Danny Wolf.
Look at his stats in the conference games. Yes. Look at his stats in the conference games. He's dominated the conference games, Sam. He had 36 and 7 the other night. If he continues to play that way, Danny Wolf has played well. He's going to be in that conversation as well if he continues to play well. Also, Trey Donaldson. He played well at Wisconsin. He played well again last night.
Yeah, here's my thing, and I said this to a lot of flack from people. My MVP for that game was not Vlad Golden. It was Trey Donaldson.
That's my guy right there.
That was my MVP for the game.
Yeah.
I'm
about MVP, but he balled though.
He was my MVP because when you look at the points that he was responsible for in the game, he had 20 points and 7 assists, and 5 of those assists were threes. He was responsible for 39 points in that game. So he didn't score 39 points, but he scored or assisted on 39 points in that game. And when did those points come?
When it was a tie game.
This gets to a crucial point that I wanted to revisit because you look back at the Arkansas and Oklahoma games, and this is something that I got into with you guys, something that I got into with Tim. They give up these big leads, man, just like they did Arkansas, just like they did Oklahoma. It happened in this game. They're up by 18 in the first half. The score, and Vlad hits 21 points in the first half of this game. The leads cut to 10 at halftime. Then UCLA comes out after the break, and they take the lead. They're up by 5. Danny Wolf goes to the bench with 4 fouls. He shouldn't have. The fouls were BS. The last 2 of those fouls were BS, but he's on the bench with 4 fouls. Vlad gets in some foul trouble too. And so it's at this point that what I've been talking about with Trey, wanting him to assume the role that we see guys like you in your day and what on conventional teams assume, Daniel, being the point guard. I know that's not how Michigan typically plays their point guard.
Yeah.
But they're gonna need him to
they want to win
at times, right?
Yeah, if they want to win a Big Ten championship, he's gonna have to be more involved in the playmaking and the scoring, like you saw the other night. When Trey Donaldson is aggressive in transition and he's being aggressive, taking shots and making shots in the half court, we're a totally different ball club. Totally different. They
were down 55. I think it was 55-51 at that point or something like that. And Trey Donaldson scores or assists on the next 12 points.
Yep.
And they take the lead and they never look back.
And that's something he has the ability to do consistently. Like, I think that's one thing coming into this year, his spot up shooting, his playmaking as a passer off the ball or with the ball in his hands were 2 of his strengths, right? Like he didn't have high assist numbers, but he had a great assist to turnover ratio, and he made good decisions with the ball. And so I felt like coming into the season, if he can expand on those things, become more of a playmaker, and become more of a shot maker, and improve on the 6 or 7 points per game he averaged at Auburn, he would turn himself into a really good player. And I think with his size and athleticism and his game, he could be an all-conference player as well.
Yeah, man. I think this was.
But it's about mentality with him, though, Sam.
This is what. Well, maybe now after this game, that mentality will be more prevalent.
Yeah,
more prevalent on the court.
And I'm not talking about rah-rah. I mean, this is my team. This is my ball. I'm running the show.
Well, in moments.
Yes.
In moments. I'm not even advocating for him to do that all the time.
No. I get to know when the game calls for it.
Exactly.
Has to step up and be the point guard.
Exactly. Because I get why they play how they play. They got all these dudes. Like they want to. The Area 51 thing is tough for other teams to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to play that way. Namari's doing his thing, like how that's coming along, right? I mean, I still think that there are aspects of Reuben Jones that we haven't seen yet. Maybe there's some of that is yet to emerge. Roddy Gale didn't even play in the last game, right? We starting out the year, I said, hey man, 2-man game with Roddy and Vlad.
Yeah,
that has never. Have we even seen any of that?
They said, to be honest, it could be any 2-man game with Vlad. You could put Wolf and Vlad, Trey and Vlad. You could put anybody with Vlad. If Vlad is setting the screen, somebody's gonna be open.
You could, but the only 2-man game I've seen that I can think of is obviously Danny and Vlad, but Trey and Vlad. I haven't seen 2-man game with. Maybe there has been some with Roddy and Vlad, but I can't think of it. But my point is, I get why we don't see Trey all the time being like, hey, I'm facilitating the offense. I get that. I understand. But there are times where it's got to run through him.
Yes.
It's got to. And certainly in those end of game situations where, man, you're not waving off the point guard. No. You're not waving off the point guard.
Or with situations where we've turned the ball over 2 or 3 times in a row, and now it's time for, hey, big fella, I need that from you. That's we got to get into this. This is what we're doing right now. Let's slow it down. Let's get into our stuff. Let's get a good shot. Let's have string together a couple good possessions in a row. Then we can get back to letting everybody else boogie. And that's one thing because Dot Man called me and told me that they had showed me on the thing because I went to the restroom. So when I came back and rewinded the game, I heard something Jalen said about when you have bigs handling the ball, you have everybody handling this type of stuff. That's why you have these high turnovers. And that's why I said earlier in the year. That's the trade-off. Like you saw Wolf, he'll come down, go between the legs, behind his back, and drop one off against a defender who doesn't have active hands layup, right? Because he's not expecting it. But you're also going to have times where he's going to turn the ball over 2 times in a row, like he did to help them get back in the game. That's the trade-off. And so, I hate to sound like the old dude in the room. In my day, if you put a guy in a situation 10 times, he makes a good play 5 times, turns it over 3 times, and you get nothing out of it the other 2 times. That's something that we're going to have to discuss about how much we're going to keep doing this. To Michigan's credit, they stick with it. They're able to get crucial buckets at times. But because they stick with it and they believe in what they're doing and so many people touch the ball, you're going to have some turnovers. Now, can you overcome that? Yes, you can, but it's tough.
So that gets to a key question. Is that, and I asked Tim this, I want to ask you this as a player and as a coach. Do we think because their bigs handle the ball so much that's just a baked in principle that we're going to have a certain number of turnovers that we just have to accept is going to be a fact of life, that it's not gonna, it can only improve so much?
Yes.
So
it's definitely a fact of life for Michigan at this point. 16, 17 games, it's a fact of life. So you're going to have to live with some of them. You just don't want the silly ones that lead to jailbreak layups and fast break layups for the other team, right? If Danny Wolf or Trey or somebody comes off and they turn the ball over, the ball goes out of bounds, and the team has to take the ball out, and we get to play against a set defense. Okay, you might live with a couple of those, right? But it's the ones where you turn it over, and now the other team is 3-on-1, 4-on-1 the other way for a wide open dunk or a three. Those are the ones Michigan has to eliminate if they want to try to win the Big Ten championship.
Well. So then, what I'm saying then, to get back to the original point, when in the crucial situations, when the other team is on a run or late game situations, my deference is gonna be to Trey. I'm not doing that as much.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm never doing it. I don't want to rule it out, but certainly in games where they've been really loose, where maybe Danny got 7 turnovers, I'm like, hey, bro, no. Get up, Trey.
Come get the ball.
Come get the ball.
And that's something he has to read as a point guard, right? Like, we're all in tune with each other. We're all connected to each other. So if I see my man might turn it over once or twice and he got to catch his rhythm, he's struggling to catch his rhythm right now, I got you. I'm going to get you an easy one time. I'm going to get us in something easy and get you an easy basket or get you get you in a position to make an easy play. Now your confidence get going, then we'll get it back to you and let you boogie. But it's not really, as a point guard, that's something, Trey's only 19, 20 years old. That's something you learn as a point guard as you become, the more basketball you play and the more you play with your teammates. So I think he'll develop that.
Do y'all feel like now that he's done that? Because I think that's the turning point. As big as Vlad's 36 points were, the winning time was Trey taking over when they were down 4 or 5 points after UCLA makes that run in the second half. That's winning time.
Yeah.
Now that he's done that, do you think that's a pivotal moment where his teammates look at him and say, all right, man, this is a trust factor. We gotta defer to him in these moments. Do you think that'll have that effect on the rest of the guys on the squad?
Of course. Like, that's how you develop. That's how teams, the hierarchy develops, right? In those late game situations, not just because, coach says so. Like, I've bust y'all ass and hit game winners in pickup games. I've done it in practice when we're doing scrimmage segments. And I also have done it when we get out here in real games. I'm the guy that stepped up and played well in crunch time. So you build that trust and that role within the team as you practice and play, right? It's not something that you can just give a guy and expect it to be, okay, we're going to give the ball to this. No, he's proven that through pickup games, practices, locker room, his mentality, his approach to the game. He's earned that, and he's developed that role amongst the team. So him doing it against UCLA is kind of the first step to that, to where now we know we have a point guard. When crunch time hits, we can get him the ball, and we know we're going to get a good shot, whether he's shooting it or he's getting it to somebody for a good shot. So that's a key piece that they can continue to develop to kind of limit the turnovers and put themselves in better position. Because look at it, Sam, if they can bottle up how they play to get up 18 in these different games, that's a top 10, top 15 basketball team. Yeah. But when you start turning over and you let the team come back and you look the exact opposite, now you get what you get. You rank 24th instead of being, like your ceiling suggests that you're, a top 10 basketball team.
Yeah, man, that's going to be, I think, that's going to be very, very significant, I think, in the long run, as far as their, if they're going to win the Big Ten, they're going to need him to do that in those moments where those teams go on runs or they get in these late game situations. They're going to need him to really seize control. So, if you don't think it's hyperbole for the team, you think it's hyperbole to be talking about Danny Wolf as a first round pick,
people are saying. Yeah, it's still too early for that. We haven't seen what name a first round pick you've seen him play against. Like you were talking about Bilodeau. Who is Bilodeau in respects to what the NBA is, right? So like Cooper Flagg, we've seen Cooper Flagg go to the USA basketball tryouts and play really well against Anthony Davis and the guys who were on the USA basketball team. That's when you can make those type of hyperbole statements, right? I saw this kid tip dunk on AD, hit AD with a jab step drive to the rim dunk on. I've seen this guy play against elite talent and be elite. And right now, at this point, we haven't seen that from Wolf. So I'm not willing to say that he's an NBA player right now. Now we get later in the season and in championship moments. And, you know, we get in the tournament, they're playing against the Dukes and the Kansases and the team that have first-round NBA big men on their team, and he's able to do the same thing he's doing now, then I'll be willing to say, yeah, this kid is he's a first-round draft pick. But I haven't seen him play against anybody yet.
He shoots threes. He rebounds. He rebounds the ball better than I expected him to be able to rebound.
For sure. But for 7-footers, a lot of that stuff is uncontested. Sorry about that. My bad, fellas.
you gotta mark that one, Ben.
My bad. I'll give it basketball mode. But seriously, like we got like for the 7-footers that, you know, when they're making passes, when they're shooting threes, when they do a lot of stuff, that stuff is uncontested for a 7-footer, right? Like when you're playing now, when they play against the Dukes of the world, they got the tall African kid and Cooper Flagg. If he's able to do against those type of players, then you make those statements, Sam. Not when he's playing against. I can't tell you who played for. Who was USC's biggest? Who was USC? Like, come on, man. What are we talking about, Sam? But you know, I understand we want to get excited and we support all of these guys. They're good players.
Hey, man, you got all these comments are coming from basketball guys. Your basketball coaches and you know your Eric Musselman and you know your basketball pundits on ESPN and Fox. These are the ones saying, "Hey man, he looks like an NBA guy," you know, in next year's draft.
Yeah, I don't put too much stock in what those guys say on a daily basis, let alone when it comes to a team they barely follow. So I'm not even like, come on, man. I'm not one of those guys, Sam. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like DG is one of the few guys in the media I pay attention to and listen to what he says because and it's not just because he went to Michigan, right? Mm-hmm. I've seen y'all break down film and talk football for 4 years now, and he hasn't. I gotta give him credit. He hasn't really missed. Right, but when you listen to other guys talk, on in the media and on these sports channels, they're doing it for entertainment. They're doing it for what's the social media narratives going on? We're going to compare this guy to Joker, the next 7-footer that can dribble and pass. We're going to compare him to Joker when the Joker is a generational, once in a lifetime player. Just because you're 7 feet and you can dribble, pass, and shoot does not put you in the Joker comparison category. So. That's just me.
I hear you. Hey, man,
the man said what he said, man. Especially that part when he was talking about me. Really on to something there.
In fairness to Jalen, he didn't say he was Joker. He said
no, he put any type of comparison to that. Just because you can dribble, pass, and shoot as a 7-footer, please stop mentioning these guys. And it's not just him. It's not just Wolf. I hear it around the country. I've seen this 6'11" kid for one of these mid-levels, low-level schools. He got out there and was dribble, passing, and shooting and shot threes. Oh, he looks like the next Kevin Durant. Come on, man. Stop comparing these guys to generational players, once-in-a-lifetime players.
Yeah.
This guy, especially when one of them, the guy we talking about, is 20 years old already.
I think, you know, for me, the thing with Danny Wolf, and I've been saying this for weeks now, he has far surpassed what I expected him to be.
For sure.
That's what I'm taking.
100%.
I did not think that he would be anything close to this. That's like I'm flabbergasted.
Underground, that's good shirt. And I think Daniel is really, really alluding to this that it's irresponsible to keep saying that. That's what he said.
Yeah, I'm flabbergasted by what I've seen from him. I did not expect him to be able to put the ball on the floor.
No. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect his level of mobility. I didn't expect it. I expected him to be versatile from what we heard, but I didn't expect him to be this versatile. So don't get me wrong. He's a really good player. But there's a difference between being that and being,
I didn't expect for him to be a playmaker. I didn't expect him to be able to put it on the deck and make plays. Like put it on the deck for a few dribbles, maybe get to the rim occasionally against Gumps, but not against good teams.
I mean, they still playing. They've played a lot of Gumps now. Don't get it twisted.
Well, so understand what I mean. I'm talking about Gump teams.
What did he do against Arkansas? I think he had like what 12.
I don't know. I can't remember.
He had a decent game against Arkansas.
I can't remember what his stats were. My point is, he's had good games against high major squads. I didn't expect that to happen.
He played on high major squads, Sam.
What are you talking about?
Who have we played? How major squads have we played? Besides, like Arkansas has the best name recognition, recruiting.
Sam, say it again. What are you talking about?
I'm confused. Have
we played Kansas? Have we played North Carolina? Have we played Duke? Have we played Baylor?
Daniel, the one thing I will say, that's unfair. Because you can only play who you play, right? You can't fast forward them to the tournament to play those teams, and if they're not already scheduled right. So you got to give them some leeway. I'm on both sides here. Right? I see what Sam's saying, but Dave, that is a little rough. That's you can't do him like that. He's playing who he's playing, based on who he's playing.
I say he's a really good player, right? I'm just saying.
So ranked
hold off on the hyperbole and just saying that like he's
ranked teams, major conference teams. So not mid-major conference, high majors. So high major conference teams.
So teams like Wake Forest. Are we really talking about Wake Forest?
So yeah, he did. He against Wake, he didn't do anything. But if you look at what he did against, say, I got to go to his game.
That's a decent performance. That's decent.
So he didn't do anything against Wake. But
against Arkansas, that's decent. And I don't want to highlight him because, like I said, I'm not bagging. I think this dude is a good player. It's just like the hyperbole.
So you look at number 22 Xavier. He had 20 points and 14 rebounds. 20 points, 14 rebounds.
I thought Xavier was a good team.
No,
they were number 22 in the country when they played him. He had 20 points.
And what are they now?
I have to go back.
Xavier doesn't get anywhere near the talent Michigan gets. It's not even. Okay. That's like saying like, okay, Michigan football beat Cincinnati. Like,
I'll come back. I'll come back to it. He had 20 points and 14 boards against Xavier. He had 20 points and 7 boards against number 11 Wisconsin.
That's a big time performance on the road in Madison. But once again, they have Gumps in the post. They don't have athletic big men.
Listen, I didn't expect him to get anywhere close.
Like from a program perspective, from a historical perspective, as far as how much Michigan has won it in Madison, Wisconsin, Michigan basketball has won in Madison, Wisconsin. That is a hell of a performance and a great win. But in respects to what the NBA is, that's not a game you look at it like, oh, that kid is an NBA kid. Who was he playing in?
Right. Then against Arkansas, 14-9-9 against Arkansas.
That's average. Well, 9 assists is good, but that's wait,
14-9-9 in college basketball is average?
14 points isn't a lot. And like I said, when
in college?
No, it's not. And when you have, like I said, when you're 7 feet tall, a lot of that stuff is uncontested. So 9 rebounds.
So my question would be, he had 14-9-9, which he
that's
won and won.
I'm going to rephrase it. That's a hell of a game. I take that from my big game.
I'm about to say, that's crazy.
I take that from my big game.
I know in college, people just don't score.
No, I don't want to get into a deep basketball conversation, so I'm just keep it right there. 14.99 for the average fan. I take that from my big man any day. Keep it. Let's go.
Seems pretty good.
Yeah, against
like he's shooting the schema.
Yeah, against
Oklahoma. 20 and 10 from my big man.
Oklahoma, he had 15, 10, and 5.
15, 10, and 5.
He stuffed the stat sheet. Okay, that's not an NBA level performance. Like I watched Cooper Flag play last night or the other night. He had 28 and 12. That's an NBA level performance.
I hear you. I mean,
but even Cooper Flag ain't going 28 and 12 every game. That's an anomaly game for him.
He's averaging 20 plus and almost 10. His numbers are NBA level numbers.
Did he stuff some of those numbers against bad competition as well, though? You got to look at that.
Duke don't play that. They play some bad teams, but they.
I'm about to say every team play bad teams.
Not every team, but Duke, Michigan State, Kansas, those teams they play a much tougher schedule this time of year than we do.
You know, he
had to keep it even. You know what I mean?
He had the UCLA. He obviously had the 4 fouls, so he was on the bench. He played only 27 minutes, so he was limited, but he had 12 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists in that game.
Hold on now, Daniel. Pump our brakes now.
Say it again.
Cooper Flag averages 17, 8, and 3.
Yeah, that's as a freshman though, not a 20-year-old. That's a freshman.
We can't do that because in basketball is different. We can't do that in basketball.
No, that's exactly what they do in basketball. One is a 17, it's just turned 18-year-old. The other one is about to be 21. There's a difference.
Seems like they're both hooping really good. I don't know.
No, they're both playing really good. I agree with you. They both playing really, but one is playing at this kid is clearly an NBA player. You know what I mean?
Look, I'm not saying that Danny Wolf is anywhere close to Cooper Flag. I'm not putting these two in the same category. But this dude is looking like I wouldn't think
Cooper Flag had a chance to play against Kansas, number 1 Kansas, 13 points, 5 turnovers.
Say it again.
13 points.
My point is,
that was probably what, first 3-4 games of the year, fresh out of high school. There's a difference.
Just saying,
one dude is 21, one is 18.
Just saying, man. He played against some,
and like I said, and
NBA caliber bigs, and he only had 13, which I think is good. But you said
he's had more than that against NBA caliber bigs because he's averaging 18 and 8, and there's also film of him dominating the USA basketball team. So there's a body of work from Cooper Flag.
Just saying.
There's not. You don't have that.
And I want to give you this too, Daniel, because I know you done seen this. I done seen this. Dudes in those settings, right? NBA guys, all that, they play because there ain't nothing really on the line, and you play a little more free.
Not USA basketball. I play USA basketball. Them scrimmages be real. It ain't no.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Nah. Them guys ain't no half stepping out there.
Oh, that's fine, but I'm saying ain't nothing on the line really though.
Yeah, well,
listen. I want to see some on the line and see what you do. And against number 1 Kansas, you only had 13, which I think is good. But you said it ain't that good.
Yeah, but
I wasn't thinking that Danny would.
Keep going down the list. You pick one game, keep going down the list.
And now I'm thinking this dude. I wasn't thinking he's sniffing the NBA.
I agree with you 100%, Sam. I think coming in like we talked about, all the guys that Michigan brought in. I had questions. He's answered those questions, but those questions don't mean that he's an NBA player. Well, I don't know. I think so. Let me rephrase that again, because I think he's an NBA player. I just don't think he's a first round. Because we were talking about before the show, the top 20 pick, right? I don't see that, but he's an NBA player for sure.
All right, that's progress. That's progress. Yeah. We made more progress with Danny Wolf than we did Caitlin Clark. How about that?
He crazy. We ain't even going to Caitlin Clark. He tripping.
Y'all hear any noise right now?
That's because there ain't no girls basketball right now.
Exactly. You hear about the NBA stars year round.
We weren't comparing her to NBA players. We was comparing her to former WNBA players.
And we used to hear about Cheryl Swoops and all them women year round.
All right. Hey, I gotta get y'all opinion on Mick Cronin after the game, though, because Michigan lost the 18-point lead. UCLA came roaring back, and then Michigan put it right back on them, right? And wound up winning, going away. And he went to the press conference and just basically said, "Hey, we lost because of them. I mean, my team sucks. My coaches suck. I gave them all the answers, and they still couldn't do it. I'm the only one in here that know what I'm doing."
So the only thing about that I didn't like is that he didn't put enough of it on himself as well.
Enough of it. He didn't put any of it.
So I'm gonna be completely honest with you, because I work with kids and all that. this whole day and age of just too cool to try hard, too cool. You think the wrong stuff is tough, right? A dude take a ball out of your hands and it's just all good, but also you miss the get bad when somebody step on, like, you know what I mean, bump you or whatever the case may be, right? And so it's kind of like Ohio State, like how you get bad afterwards. Get bad when he taking that ball from you. And I'm a little more juiced up about it because I got kids that's playing basketball right now and they can't hoop. But guess what? We will not be having the ball taken from us. We will not let people just have their arms leaning on us, all this garbage. And it's just about a toughness factor that I think he was saying he didn't see from his team. I would have loved him to say, hey, and it starts with me. He was just kind of like giving them all the blame. But these kids are crazy. They crazy, Sam.
Okay, but he didn't take any of it on himself.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't think he did enough of that.
That's not something people would ever question about Mick Cronin in the basketball community, about his toughness as a coach. That's his forte.
That's his thing.
That's his thing. Mick Cronin, from when he was assistant for Pitino, that's always been, he's a tough, hard-nosed basketball coach.
He looking like, I cannot believe this is my team.
Yeah, like how did we get here?
Ben, can you bring up, because some people might not know exactly, they may not have seen it. Can you bring it up for the people real quick? Just a little bit of the commentary from Mick Cronin real quick.
I don't think he's soft.
You know, we're too soft to play hard enough. Even in the crucials, you can't get an offensive rebound. You know, it's like a 5-point game, and Kobe Johnson just has a guy take the ball from him. Same thing with Sebastian Mack. Okay, we finally do get a stop. Can't get a defensive rebound. They didn't have a million of them because they didn't miss that many shots. But there was a few in particular. Kobe, Sebastian, huge, backbreaking. And you got inside position. So don't tell me you want to win. Like, just don't tell me you want to win. You won't start the game. Tyler Bilodeau gave up 12 points. 2 screens, he didn't say a word, 3s, and then he got dunked on 3 times.
Pause it so I can break it down for y'all in coach speak. So that has nothing to do with talent, right?
Okay, you can take him off the screen real quick.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with talent, right? You hear people say, "Oh, he should have took blame for having this power forward guard Vlad. He can't guard Vlad." That ain't have nothing to do with it. He's not talking about that. He's talking about their approach to the game, how they handle the bare minimum to be good and win games in college basketball, especially the Big Ten.
Playing hard and being tough is what he's talking about.
He said, and the one of them, he said this guy didn't even call out the screen 3 times in a row.
And got dunked on 3 times.
Okay,
bro, if you don't call out the screen 3 times in a row, you're going to get killed at any level. You can't play for me. I'm telling you right now, Sam, with my kids that I coach now, if it's a ball screen set 3 times or a back screen set,
and somebody not telling somebody something,
all right,
coming out the game.
So sound like to me. So did he come out? So a couple things are screaming to me as I hear this press conference. So this toughness that you exude in these 500 games that you've won, you know, you recruit toughness.
It's true.
That you stake your program on.
It's true.
Who brought these players in, Mick?
It's true.
But Sam, ain't no guys like that no more.
What do you mean ain't no guys like that?
Michigan don't have no guy like that. Michigan don't have no guy like that.
Because at one point, no.
Michigan State don't have an Aloysius and
hold on.
team.
Well, he said at one point, well, hey, if somebody gonna dunk on me, I think Mick Cronin my side. He said, if somebody gonna dunk on me, I'm just gonna foul him. You can find somebody on your bench.
Me too.
That could just foul a guy. So okay, Mick, if that's your philosophy, then sit his ass down and put the dude on the court that's gonna go foul him.
Hey Sam, but he between a rock and a hard place. He also want to try to win.
He also want to win,
listen, man.
You want the guy that you have out there to have enough pride that, okay, I'm not gonna let this guy just dominate me. And if he starts dominating me, I gotta change the rhythm and change the flow. I'm gonna foul him hard. I'm gonna do something to change this to where I gotta show pride in what I'm doing.
Well, I got a problem with you making it sound like everything that went wrong is everybody else. Because if there's a tone that is that pervasive where my entire team is soft. Man, something went wrong in recruiting.
Oh no, not only the team, he said staff too.
His staff too.
It's
His
UCLA.
staff is soft. His team is soft.
Hold on, hey Sam, I gotta stop you. Go ahead, Daniel, because you might be on to something. The whole atmosphere.
It's UCLA. When have they not had accusations? When have they not had accusations of being
he's been there 6 years. He's been there 6 years.
And they had 2-3 years where they made it to the Final Four. 2 years for sure.
He made it to the Final Four with somebody else's guys. With somebody else's guys. With his guys, he ain't made it.
They just made it 2 years ago with little Tiger and Jaime Jaquez.
I thought that wasn't Tiger and Jaime.
Been there 6 years. That was 2 years ago.
I thought Tiger and Jaime was when he got 2 years. That was 2 years. When he got there over Juwan and them.
No, they were young then. They made 2 runs with that group when they were young. And
I know
years ago.
The time they made it with Tiger and Jaime weren't his guys. I know that.
It don't. He coached them.
So my thing is with your guys,
the guy who had them before they do that
brought in there. So my point is, okay, so we have been able to cycle in your guys, Mick. The toughness that you recruit, the people that you brought in your image. So what's the deal?
Yeah, and
why what the deal is that's they don't recruit. That's not that type of recruiting going on. Saying where I'm recruiting tough. That's because basketball ain't like that no more. Basketball is a skill. Basketball is a rich kid skill game now. It's not like you thinking where I can go get. Like I said, even Michigan State, they don't have an Aloysius and a Gagne on their team setting the tone every night, just being out there being super physical. Now everybody wants the 6'11", 6'9". Athletic skill kid wing where he can, be smooth. That's the game ain't played that way. Sam, but you have to try to instill those principles and those behaviors and those habits in these kids, and it's just not the same type of
I think it's very difficult. I'm not in the arena of defending $1 million coaches.
I don't know how much you make. And UCLA went to the Final Four in 2021.
Yeah, 3 years ago.
Yeah, that's when they beat Juwan, when they beat Michigan. They didn't go to the Final Four. They went to the Sweet 16 2 years in a row.
Okay, so they had 2 good runs then with under Cronin. Sweet 16 and the Final Four.
I don't think it's all the way what Daniel's saying, but I don't think it's all the way what you're saying. I think it's somewhere in the middle. It's hard to recruit kids with the NIL and all this different stuff. In the sense of entitlement you get, this is what I was kind of talking about with Michigan as far as getting guys that fit your culture from other schools. Yeah, they maybe played well and had good stats or whatever the case may be, but you bring them in and they don't fit what you're doing because you don't know them, right? They put on a mask on these visits, right? They're pretending to be whatever you want them to be so they can get the bag and play. So I think it's a hard time, but he also need to figure it out. Like you can't go into a press conference and just blame everybody else because of what you've done in the past. It's an entirely new era, right? So I think he where he made a mistake is just blaming everybody else. And you have to also remember it's emotional. It's right after the game. And he just watched his team just get bullied, basically, is what he was making it sound like.
100%.
And so I think it's somewhere in the middle. It's somewhere in the middle.
He was talking about
hold on, because some coaches will get in there and give coach speak, and everybody in the locker room don't know who he's talking about. Everybody looking around like, shit, I ain't miss no block out. I ain't play soft, because kids are not honest with themselves. But when you get in there and you say, hey, this guy did this. To be honest, I wish Amaker did more of that. Get in the media and call guy this. I wish this guy would do. I wish Daniel would take care of the damn ball more.
Then let the players go in there and talk about what the coach. Hey man, coach gave some confusing instructions on what we were supposed to do. Let's have it both ways then, because here's my problem.
But Sam, both ways is they get paid now.
This is my problem. This is my problem. Because he was given some real accurate stuff. I'm not saying that what he was saying was wrong. My issue is the lack of personal accountability.
Yeah.
You're talking about how the players they kept going under these screens, man. And
that's
he was right.
Coach.
That I understand that, Dan. I'm not saying he was wrong. They go under these screens. They busting these. They
closing out on Trey Donaldson with their face instead of hands up, so he's dotting eyes.
Daniel, I'm not saying he was wrong. They busting these assignments left and right. He's like, what is going on? These guys are making us like, man, this my defense is looking like dog crap out there. It's like, man, these dudes hitting these threes left and right. Can we do it right one time? What the hell is the problem, right? And basically saying my defensive instructions are right and these guys are executing it poorly every time down the floor.
That happens.
So if my instructions are clearly right and they're executing it wrong every single time, I mean, clearly there's some issue. Put a different guy in. Do I need to simplify? What's the problem, fellas? Let's figure something out.
Guys,
okay, and here's what
next year though.
Here's what I come back to. I remember talking to. I'll bring in a football reference. I remember the Wisconsin game. Devin, you remember this reference. Man, Cade McNamara was missing wide open guy. He must have left 3 or 4 touchdowns on the field in the first half of that game. It took everything in us. Everything in us.
No, it took everything in me. It took everything in me not to kill him.
Hey, man, it was egregious. Like, if you watch the all 22 of this game, and people were like, if you had watched the all 22 of this game, you was like, man, is he trying to throw the game?
I think he's trying to throw the game.
Is he trying to throw this game? And if you Josh Gaddis, you like, man, my stuff is working. My stuff is working. The receivers are running wide open.
Wide open.
In the field, and he just missing them.
Missing them, not even trying to throw it to him.
My stuff is working. And he just missing. Well, so what difference does it make if your stuff is working if he can't hit him? It's great. It's a vanity play. It's great. The design is perfect. It's flawless. But if it doesn't result in points, what difference does it make? So I better run something that he can do. Maybe I got to simplify. Maybe I got to water this down. Maybe I got to make it a Montessori experience. I got to do something different that can be on his level that he can actually do. My point, Coach Cronin, if these dudes can't execute, maybe it's just on this given day. Maybe they just not processing.
No, he says it's been a multi-game thing for them.
Oh, all the more reason. All the more reason. If they are not processing what you're asking them to do,
something different though, Sam.
And all the more reason. If they are not executing what you're asking them to do, maybe you got to simplify. Maybe you got to ask them to do something.
There's no such thing in basketball. There's no such thing as simplification in basketball. Like, either you're gonna do what we practice, or because basketball is in a sport. And I can't speak for football, right? Because you gave a football reference, but for basketball, is not a sport where you can go out and do things you don't practice. So, I'll give you an example. So, when Caitlin Clark Sr., they play in South Carolina, or junior year actually, they play in South Carolina. The year she had 40 or whatever, and they beat South Carolina or whatever. And everybody's like, why didn't South Carolina double team? Why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that? Those are things that you don't do unless you practice those things on a regular basis. And with the amount of time you have to practice in college, 20 hours a week, these teams, you watch Michigan. Michigan don't have a whole bunch of different defensive game plans they can go to. They switching everything, and they're pressuring the ball. If that don't work, then it is what it is for the night, right? Michigan's offensive game plan hasn't changed whether they won or lost. Dusty's holding them to the same standards, the same expectations every night. Go out here, execute our ish, and go win the game. With Mick, they were ranked 15th. They've been successful, but over the last, he was really speaking about the last 2 games, in Nebraska, second half of the Nebraska game and the Michigan game. He said that they've been extreme. He said the last 3 quarters, last 3 halves of basketball, are giving up 42, 47, and 47. You're not going to beat nobody giving up 40 points a half. So he was speaking to their softness, their undisciplinedness, all of that. And he's exactly right. You watch guys shoot. Trey Donaldson, how many threes did Donaldson shoot without a hand up? Would hit 2 threes without a hand up. Like it's like that's horrible basketball, and that's not on coaching.
I didn't say he was wrong.
So y'all got to stop trying to Mick. Whatever Mick said, Mick was 100% right. Them dudes need to get it together. His staff need to step in and coach it harder in practice and make sure these guys got these concepts and know what we're trying to execute. That ain't on me.
Okay, I don't buy that. None of this falls on him. Give me, bro.
If you want to go by the old adage that it starts at the top, then sure. But we all know there's nuance to that. Like
you recruited him, you hired him. You recruited him, you hired him. Then if your roster, if you don't have any dudes who have any toughness, then man, you did a bad job recruiting.
And I don't think
you did a bad job hiring. That's a poor reflection on you. Either any way it cut it, it's a poor reflection on you.
No, but he's just the coach that's calling it out, Sam. These guys, there's no tough guys in college basketball for real. Like that's not a thing anymore. Like I said, you watch Michigan don't beat people because they out tough people. This
dude, he talking like he's won championships. Like Dusty May's resume is better than his.
Man,
stop, at least Dusty May, at least.
No, I love Dusty. Dusty a great guy. I know Dusty May when his coaching track record. He started with Ramsey. I know Dusty May.
Dusty May recruited dudes at a mid-major school.
No, Dusty's
his own guys at a mid-major school and went
Dusty's awesome, but Mick has been the head coach at Louisville.
I understand that.
UCLA for a reason.
I understand that. Dusty May recruited guys at Florida Atlantic and went to a Final Four. Mick Cronin inherited guys
and coached
at UCLA. At UCLA.
Coached them to a Final Four.
And got in at a last four in, went on a run and beat Michigan because Isaiah Livers was injured. Man. So man, I'm sorry. I think what Dusty May has been able to do is more impressive than that.
Man.
So I mean,
I don't think one is more impressive than the other. They both been to the Final Four.
They both have been to the Final Four, but I'm just, man, if you gonna talk about all this success you've had, it hits me, it lands with me a lot better. It resonates with me a lot more if the resume has some hardware. Let's just put it that way. If you say, hey, man, I've done all this, if it actually has some
in college basketball, how many coaches have hardware?
I don't hear a whole lot of coaches doing what he
it's
just
the same group of 5 coaches that got hardware.
I hear what you're saying. I don't hear a lot of coaches doing what he just. This dude stepped into the press conference.
Then Larinaga did it and quit the next day. It's the same
This dude stepped into the press conference and said, I'm the only one doing everything right.
No, he said he had more passion and more intensity on a daily basis than his kids, and that can't be the case. That can't be. If you want to win,
guys. Sorry, I lied to you, Martin. Well, I just didn't want to go to Arizona. We get it. You guys are on opposing sides. You're never going to agree on this one. We know that he needs to take some accountability. We know that the kids are soft. Moving on.
All right. Moving on. That is a great way to move on. Hey, real quick, we got some special programming coming to you guys because our friends at Golden Limo, the Golden Limo Golden Ticket Party is gonna happen. We are actually gonna bring you a live edition of the film study, and guess who's gonna take part? Devin Gardner. And guess who else going to take part?
Time out. There's a caveat. As long as Al Borges is not invited, I'm in that thing.
So
I'm bringing a date.
We'll keep you separated. So Al Borges will be on one side, and we'll have Devin Gardner on the other side. We'll have Zeke Berry. We'll have Samaj Morgan. We'll have some other special guests. We're going to be recapping this season, how it started, how it finished, a lot in between as well. reflections upon the season at this special golden ticket party. Those of you who have used a golden limo and used the golden ticket as you booked your golden limo service using the golden ticket. We had some of you have been selected to attend the golden limo party. You'll be able to take part. Those of you who aren't attending, we will actually be filming this
glorious occasion.
Breakdown. Yeah, we'll be filming this breakdown and be bringing it to you here on the channel. In the meantime, in between time, if you have ground transportation needs, our friends at Golden Limo, they have you covered. They will get you there on time, every time, whether you need executive transport using any of their executive vehicles, their aviators, their navigators, airport transport, game day transport, whatever you might need, they have you covered. Maybe you have group transport needs that you might need using their sprinters, their party buses. They have you covered there. Maybe you need large group transport, like teams, like you see the Michigan football team or the Michigan basketball team traveling on their luxury motor coaches. They have you covered there as well. Again, they get you there on time, every time, safely, whether that's anywhere in Southeast Michigan, anywhere in the country. And the great thing about it is you don't even have to be in Southeast Michigan to use Golden Limo. You can be anywhere in the country. You can even be anywhere in the world. When I flew to Rome, when I flew to Paris, I booked my ground transportation using Golden Limo because they have ground transportation partners that allow you to use the Golden Limo service. It doesn't get any better than that. So again, all you got to do is go to goldenlimo.com, book your Golden Limo transportation, and you will be riding in the lap of luxury, and you'll be doing so safely. Ben, can you please drop that track?
If you have ground transportation needs, get to your destination on time, every time with Golden Limo. Ride like the Wolverines. Feel like a Wolverine when you ride with Golden Limo, the proud transportation partner for many of Michigan's sports teams and the primary transportation provider for Michigan Wolverines football. All you have to do to book your golden ticket reservation is go to goldenlimo.com/golden ticket or call their team at 734-668-8282 and mention Golden Ticket to book your transportation reservations today.
All right, guys. In closing, let's go ahead and go on the record with a couple of picks. First, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about these playoff matchups. Who you got in tonight's matchup? Penn State, Notre Dame.
Penn State.
You got Penn State.
Yeah. Just think I think it's James Franklin's time, man. I know me and you have had our spat over James Franklin and his ability as a coach. And I told you he's a good football coach. If he goes and wins the national championship, man, I'm just telling you, you're gonna have to bend the knee. I tried to tell you he was a good coach.
What have you seen him do that makes you say that?
If he wins the national championship,
if he wins the national championship, of course I'll say he's a good coach. He will have beaten some good teams to get there.
Even if he gets to the national championship, you wouldn't say a good coach after that?
Just nah.
So you already said earlier you gotta have the hardware for Sam.
No, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. There's some good coaches who don't necessarily have hardware.
Well, I'm picking Penn State.
I don't even want to rehash that. But James Franklin has backed his way into the playoff. Make no mistake. They backed their way into this playoff.
He in the semifinals, man. You can't do nothing with that.
What did they do to get there? Come on, DG.
Hey,
context matters.
Yeah, absolutely.
He in the semifinals, man.
They backed their way into this playoff.
Nah, I'm with you.
They won 2 games to get there. They can't choose who they play.
I misspoke. Hey, Sam, I'm kind of with you, though. I ain't going to lie to you. I'm not the biggest James Franklin fan.
I'm not a fan either. But his record speaks for itself. He's a good coach.
Hey, I am, for one thing, let's say this. I am happy that we got two black coaches with a chance to win the national championship. I know I want to make this a race thing, you know, America gets. But as a black coach in basketball, I support all black coaches. Good to see those two guys playing. My pick is Notre Dame for that game.
And for Ohio State, Texas, I picked Texas because I just don't believe that another team is just going to let a player who is clearly the best player on the football field run free throughout the defense. I don't think they're going to allow it.
Yeah,
I will hope they're going to have a plan. After losing last year and letting Rome Odunze do what he did and Michael Penix, I would imagine that they will have a plan to stop a passing attack such as Ohio State.
Yeah, I think the coaching advantage in the Notre Dame Penn State game goes to Marcus Freeman.
But the quarterback advantage goes to Penn State. I usually pick quarterbacks, and I think that the Penn State quarterbacks is significantly better than Notre Dame's.
You do?
Yes, not even close, honestly. I don't think it's close.
I like Texas.
I'm talking about playing quarterback. I'm not talking about running Q power. I'm talking about playing quarterback.
See,
He's significantly better than the kid at Notre Dame.
See, I think Drew Aller has the measurables and the tools, but playmaking ability, he's better than last year, but I just haven't seen him show. He's one of those guys where the hype exceeds the accomplishment in production.
So this is why I don't want you to be confused. I don't think he's a world beater. I think he's significantly better than Notre Dame's quarterback.
Better than Riley Leonard.
Riley Leonard is not very good, dude. Like, they are in spite of him, right? And obviously he helps in the run game, and that's great. He's a good kid. He's got great ability athletically and all that. But as far as playing, if you're going to make him drop back and throw the ball, he's not very good.
Yeah.
Right? And so if I'm going to pick a quarterback, I got to pick the quarterback for Penn State. I don't think it's close. And I pick quarterbacks. When I'm picking games, I pick quarterbacks usually.
I hear you. I just remember watching the first half of the SMU game and watch him not do a thing.
Yeah, he did.
Not do a thing in the first half of that game. And I was like, how is this possible?
But then you got to watch him against Oregon too, man. He played outstanding against Oregon.
What you think about OSU's O-line versus Texas D-line?
And that's another part of the reason why I'm picking Texas.
Yeah,
but I think their D-line is going to be able to put pressure in the back end. They're not going to just let a guy run free. And again, I will pick Quinn Ewers over the quarterback for Ohio State.
But what do we think about Ohio State's D-line versus Texas's beat-up offensive line? That's my concern. See, Texas has got to be able to run the football, and they have not been able to run the football here for a little while now because their offensive line is beat up.
Yeah.
Now they can't play pass.
This offensive genius muscles, right? You're supposed to be this offensive genius, and I think he is. He has some genius to him as an offensive play caller. I think that you really have to flex those muscles when you are kind of inept at the offensive line position and the inability to run the football. Remember, Michigan had that same issue, right? But Sherrone Moore found a way to run the football at least effectively enough that they could, finish the year winning 3 straight games. So I think it's up to him, right? He's had plenty of time. He has to find a way to run the football. But I think Quinn Ewers is going to be able to make some throws, and they've got some really good receiver talent. He just have to make sure he stays away from number 2. Stay away from number 2 wearing whichever color they're wearing, scarlet, white, whatever it is. Stay away from him. They put him in position to make plays for a reason, and he always makes the play. And people, just like on their offense, how they keep letting number 4 do whatever he wants, they keep throwing at number 2. Stop it. Stop running at him. Stop throwing at him. Go the other way. And I think that they should be fine.
Yeah, they got to be able to play pass. When they put Quinn Ewers in pure drop back passing situations, it's been an issue. Play passing, he can, and most quarterbacks for that matter, but him specifically is cutting people up. And hopefully they can do that. They can beat Ohio State if they do that. If they can run the football and take some shots off play action passing, they can beat Ohio State.
Hey, that young boy for Texas got a little butt on the edge too. The young edge rusher from Birmingham.
Super nice.
So Abdul Carter is hurt for Penn State.
What?
I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know how.
Hey, how about the twin though? That boy been balling, man. 41, not Caleb King. The twin king.
Kobe.
Kobe King. Man, he has been balling. He is sideline to sideline at that middle linebacker position. He's a real problem. So, obviously they're going to miss out Abdul Carter if he's not able to play, but 41's been playing lights out, man.
Yeah, I think.
Remember, they moved Abdul Carter because they felt comfortable with 41.
Yeah. I think Penn State wins the game. I think they're more versatile. And on the other side,
he hates saying this.
Listen.
He hates saying it. He hates saying it, but he got to do his job.
Really good though, man.
Well, Jeremiah Smith is banged up for Notre Dame, and I think that's just a killer.
Yeah,
that's a killer. And
then
then
he's lying about his practice stats. So you had good practices.
As much as I would love to see Texas beat Ohio State. I think the Buckeyes are going to win that game.
All right,
the Buckeyes are going to win.
There it is.
So, and then Super Bowl. Who makes the Super Bowl? Who makes the Super Bowl? Who do you got in that matchup?
Lions.
You said who? Chiefs, Lions.
I got Chiefs.
I got Lions, Ravens.
I got Chiefs, Lions too. These dudes.
Lamar here.
These dudes. Until I see somebody beat in the AFC beat other than Cincinnati. Till I see somebody go and take care of.
Which we got to just stop bringing up the Cincinnati thing. It was so long ago. Like, let it go, guys. They've won 2 Super Bowls since they beat them. Come on, man. We got to stop talking about that.
Well, but none of these other squads, none of these other dudes have done it. Josh Allen hasn't done it.
He can't.
Lamar hasn't done it.
He might be able to, but I don't think he will.
So, Chiefs, Lions.
So you're going chalk all over the board, huh, Sam?
Chiefs, Lions, man. Chiefs, Lions. I would love to see Texas. Man, if Texas, to me, because I don't know the health of their offense, or their big first-round draft pick offensive tackle. If they've been able to work some miracles
Sam,
on the offensive line.
You heard me pick Texas. Just jump with me, dude.
Oh, you got some inside info? You got some inside intel?
Inside trader like you. I'm not an insider trader like you. You're an insider trader. I don't inside trade. I just go off the intel. No. I'm smart. I'm smart. How'd I get so smart?
They were acting real skittish about how we don't know how healthy he is.
You was smart. You was important.
They got to be able to run the football.
It's important. All right, man. We got to go.
We got to go.
People do not want to see no more of us, man. Let's go.
All right, folks. That's going to do it for us. We appreciate you as always. We'll see you next time on the next edition of Steady Droppin Dimes.